Okay, so here's a close-up of our stitch. It's really quite lovely. I really like the way the pattern just flows. It just really has a nice flow to it. Let me see if I can show you. Can you see that? It's just so beautiful. This is the easiest stitch in the world to do. Basically, if you know how to do a single crochet and a double crochet and you can chain, then you can do this stitch. It is that easy. Even though it looks complicated, it's really not. This is sometimes it's called the cross stitch and other times it's called the X stitch. And we will be turning this stitch into a lovely baby blanket. And I am currently working on my baby blanket, but I didn't want to wait to show you this stitch and to give you instructions for making your very own baby blanket. I will do a separate tutorial for the border once I get my baby blanket done, and I will show you that along with how to make the border. But this is going to be the basics of how to make the baby blanket, and this is the timeless baby blanket. So let's get started. The first thing that we're going to do, we will need a size J hook, and I am using my Clover Amour hook. It's my favorite hook. Let me get that in the picture here. There we go. And if you have trouble with your sides and keeping them straight, you can never go wrong with using a stitch marker. So I'm going to keep those to the side in case I run into trouble, because even I, an experienced crocheter, can sometimes have trouble with keeping my sides straight. The other thing you might need is a yarn darner or a needle, yarn needle, and a pair of scissors, but you won't need those until the end when we weave in our ends. So let's get started. Okay, for the purpose of this tutorial, we will do a small swatch. I have chained 21. In order to make the baby blanket, you will need to chain an even number plus 1. For the perfect baby blanket size with this pattern, I would suggest that you would chain 121. So I am doing 20 and 21 chains. I would suggest that you do 121 in order to get a good baby blanket size. Once you chain your 121, you are going to ignore the yarn that's on your hook. You're going to skip that first chain and you're going to single crochet in the next. And we are going to single crochet all the way down to the end. I am using Hobby Lobby. I love this yarn in a peach color. And I hope this color shows up on screen. I already did this tutorial once using a teal, which turned out to be so dark that it was nearly impossible to see the stitches. So I'm hoping that this shows up a little better. I hope it's not too light. Okay. Oh, it's just so interesting how one color will show up and another one won't. Okay, well, the color showed up, but the stitches did not. All right, let's see. When we get to the end of here, I'm going to count and make sure that I have, in fact, 20 stitches. And I'm going to remember to count that skipped stitch right there, because that will make the 20th. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and that last one is 20. So that's perfect. Perfect. If you have trouble with your sides, you may want to take a stitch marker and put it in that last stitch right there. The one, that's actually the one that was the chain that we skipped. So that's that last one. We want to make sure that we don't forget that one. All right. After you chain 120 for your blanket, you will chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and we will turn our work. When we turn our work, that first stitch right here is actually the stitch that this chain 3 is coming out of. And so we will ignore that because the chain 3 in this blanket counts as a stitch. Okay, so we're going to ignore that first one. We are going to skip the next one, this one right here, and we are going to double crochet in the next one. So yarn over, go into the stitch, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. So can you see we have the chain 3 and we have this double crochet, and then we have a space here, and right here is a stitch. That skipped stitch is where we're going to now do a double crochet. So we're going to yarn over and we're going to go back into that, and make sure you get both loops on that stitch, okay? The front and the back loop, because when you do that skipped stitch, it's easy to ignore that back loop and it's easy for it to fall down in the back, and then it just won't look quite right. Okay, so there we go. We did the double crochet in the skipped stitch. So if you'll see, don't think that this is a stitch, because this is where we did our first double crochet here, and then we went back and did a double crochet in the skipped stitch. This one is where we did our first double crochet, so we're going to ignore that, skip the next one, and do a double crochet in the next one. You ready? Okay, ignore, skip, double crochet. Okay, there we go. We've got that nice hole. We've got that nice space, and here is that skip stitch. We're going to double crochet in that skipped stitch, and this is making nice little X's for us. Okay, now we're going to continue this pattern all the way down. This row is going to be exactly the same until we get to the very end. And when we get to the very end, we will have one stitch left. What do you think we're going to do in that stitch? You got it. We're going to do one double crochet. And that one double crochet in the very last stitch will match this chain 3 right here, so that our work will go nice and straight. Okay, so follow along. We're going to ignore, skip, double crochet. Okay, then we're going to double crochet in that skipped stitch. Ignore, skip, double crochet. Double crochet in the skipped stitch. ignore, skip, double crochet, double crochet in the skipped stitch, ignore, skip, double crochet, double crochet in the skip stitch. Now if you're having trouble seeing that stitch that we're ignoring, I would suggest that you take your crochet, pull out a loop so that you don't lose your stitch, and actually examine this. Pull these double crochets apart and you can see how that first double crochet actually went into that stitch that we are skipping. Give it a little examine there. Move this one out of the way and you can see clearly, oh, that one went into that stitch. Okay. And that will help you. Understanding why you're doing what and what it means is just so helpful when you're crocheting. When you're crocheting blind and you have no idea why you're doing what you're doing, it is so frustrating. So we're going to ignore, skip, double crochet. And I am almost at the end. I'm going to double crochet in that skip, ignore, skip, double crochet, double crochet in the skip. Okay, and I'm going to ignore, skip, double crochet, double crochet in the skip. And I have one left. It's right here at the end. And I want to make sure that I get both stitches on that V. Can you see the V? I hope it's... There we go. Okay. Now, we are going to double crochet in that last stitch. Okay. There we go. Can you see? See this last chain 3 right here? Right here. Okay. Now, our next stitch, our next row is going to be a single crochet row. We're going to chain 1, turn our work. That chain 1 came out of that first stitch, so we're going to ignore that, and we're going to we're going to single crochet all the way down the row. Wow, this yarn is so soft. I really do love this yarn. Oh my goodness, it feels like butter in my hands. And it works really well. There's no splitting. There's no drag. The yarn just glides. My hook glides through the yarn. Okay. And we're at the end, and I have that chain 3, and I'm going to, don't forget to do a single crochet in the top of that chain 3. And I like to try to grab 2 loops in that chain 3. Perfect. Okay. I like to try and grab that V in the top of the chain 3. Okay, so that was my last single crochet of this row. Now I am going to do another cross row. So I did a single crochet row, a cross row, a single crochet row. Now I'm going to do another cross row. So what do we do to start? That's right. We chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and we turn our work. This chain 3 counts as the first stitch, so we're not going to pay attention to that because that's where this chain 3 is coming out of. Even though it wants to trick us, don't let it trick you. Now, we're going to ignore that. We're going to skip the next stitch and double crochet in the next. Okay. We're going to double crochet in the skip stitch. We're going to ignore, see if I can show you, ignore, skip, double crochet. Whoop. Helps if I yarn over. Here we go. Okay, ignore, skip, double crochet. Then we're going to double crochet in that skipped stitch. Okay. We are going to ignore, skip, double crochet. Double crochet in the skipped stitch. Ignore, skip, double crochet. Double crochet in the skipped stitch. Ignore, skip, double crochet. Double crochet in the skipped stitch. Ignore, skip, double crochet. Double crochet in the skipped stitch. Ignore, skip, double crochet. Oh, got a little knot. It's not really a knot, it just jumbled a little bit. There we go. Okay, we're going to double crochet in that skipped stitch. Ignore, skip, double crochet. Double crochet in the skipped stitch. Okay, ignore, let's get this, ignore, skip, double crochet right there. Double crochet in the skipped stitch. Now we have our last stitch right here. Okay, and we are going to, what are we going to do? That's right, we're going to double crochet in that last stitch right there. The stitch where we turned our work. And I like to get 2 in there. Let me see if I can do it. Okay. There we go. Okay. So both ends have, here's the chain 3, here's the double crochet on that first one, here's the chain 3 and the double crochet on that second, and there's a row of single crochet in between. Okay, now we're almost through with our repeat. Okay, so we start with a chain and then a row of single crochet. We do a row of X's and we do a single crochet. Then we do another row of X's. The next section is going to be this section right here. So we have X, single crochet, X, and then we have a row, a band of single crochets. This right here is 3 rows of single crochets. So that's going to be our pattern. When we start with our chain and a single crochet row. That's our start. And our pattern goes like this. Are you ready? X, single crochet, X, 3 single crochet rows, X, single crochet, X, 3 single crochet rows, X, single crochet, X, 3 single crochet rows, X, single crochet, X, and then if we're continuing, 3 single crochet rows. If we're ending, then we do X, single crochet, X, and then we end on a single crochet row just like we started. Okay? So it's X, single crochet, X, 3 single crochet rows, X, single crochet, X, 3 single crochet rows. Okay? And that is our pattern. So we have our foundation chain and the first row of single crochets. Then we start our pattern. X, single crochet, X, 3 single crochet rows. And then we start over. X, single crochet, X, 3 single crochet rows. So let's do some more single crochet rows. When we're at the end here, when we're doing a single crochet row, we start with a chain 1 and turn our work. We ignore that first one because that's part of the chain 1, which becomes our first stitch. And then we do single crochets all the way across to the end. Always make sure, do a little count every now and then, or use a stitch marker to make sure that you are keeping your rows even. I would also recommend every now and then laying your work out and examining your sides just to make sure that you haven't started drifting in any way. Okay? And when you get to this end, don't forget that chain 3, you need to do a single crochet in the top of that chain 3 because that is your last stitch. Okay? Always remember that at the end of the stitch, at the end of the row, there is a rogue little stitch there just waiting to be taken care of. Okay? Because that will make your end start going in if you forget about that little stitch over to the side. Okay? So look how pretty that's coming out. It's gorgeous. So we have 1 single crochet row. We need 2 more. So we're going to chain 1, turn our work. Remember that is where the chain 1 came out of, so we're going to ignore that and we're going to single crochet all the way across. Single crochet, single crochet all the way across. Okay, and now, likes to hug itself. Let's get rid of that hug right there. There we go. Okay, can anybody tell me what I've forgotten here? That's right, I forgot that last little stitch right there, that last turning chain there. That is the final stitch. The final stitch. Okay, so we have done 2 of our single crochets in our pattern. We have 1 more single crochet row to make that band, and then we get to start over with the cross, single crochet, cross, 3 single crochets. Okay, you ready? Chain 1, turn our work. Ignore that. Going to the next one and single crochet across. Oh yeah. we got this pattern, and it is so pretty. It's just a timeless pattern. It just has, oh, it just has such a nice little feel to it. It's not overly complicated. It's quick. I mean, we can really make this blanket up very fast. And I am enjoying this little stitch, and people are going to look at it, and it doesn't look like anything that you know, that is common. So they're going to think that you are just performing a little bit of magic. Now don't forget that turning chain. I'm going to do a single crochet in that last turning chain. Okay, so we have 3 single crochet rows. So we get to start the pattern over. I'm so excited. So that, my friends, is the pattern. Once you get the foundation chain and the first single crochet row, once you get those 2, then you start the pattern. Cross, single crochet, cross, single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, cross, single crochet, cross, 3 rows of single crochet. And that is your pattern. It's really, really sweet and really lovely. And I just can't wait to see my blanket, my timeless baby blanket, completed. And once I do, we're going to do a border together. And I'm going to do a very simple border. I don't want anything too fluffy or too, you know, too elaborate. I just want a nice simple border. We have X's in our pattern, and we also have bands in our pattern. You know, this would be lovely if you wanted to change up your colors. If you wanted to do, you know, the X's in one color and the band in another, or if you wanted to do the X's and 1 single crochet row in one color, and then do the middle of the 3 in an offset color. You know, like with this peach, I could do a darker peach going through it, or if I wanted to do a springtime green going through it and then start back with the peach, or I could alternate the colors in either pastel colors or bold colors with, you know, a contrasting color through that one, just to do a little stripe through it. That would be really lovely too. But I, for this purpose, am going to stick with one color, and because I just really love it, and I've started with one color, and I want to finish with one color because to me that is just going to bring out the stitches. It's going to allow people to just appreciate the stitches that are there and not be distracted by the colors, at least for my first one. So I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. I will put the instructions down below. It's really quite simple, and I will put the repeat pattern below so that if you need to refer to it, you can. And like I said, it is quite simple. You can even jot down the repeat pattern. Cross, single crochet, cross, 3 rows of single crochet. And of course you start with your chain and your foundation row of single crochet, and then you start your pattern. When you end the blanket, you are going to end actually on the single crochet row. That is the first single crochet, and that will match this end, which has 1 single crochet. So that will match that. So you will end with a single crochet row, just 1, and then we'll do the border around, and it will be quite lovely. So this is the Timeless Baby Blanket tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you try it. If you do, go to my Instagram page, go to my Facebook page, and show off your blankets. And if you like it and you're on other pages, share this tutorial with others so that they can make this Timeless Baby Blanket as well. hope that you have a great day and stay safe, be kind, and let's get hooking.